thought that James Charles would get exposed at some point for getting a BBL surgery, and now he's being roasted on social media because of it. Actually, that wouldn't be surprising to me at all. Aside from the mess that is going on about James's surgery, Charlie and Dixie D'Amelio are also getting dragged for being invited by Nickelodeon at their award show instead of JoJo Siwa, and even Ethan Klein is now getting called out for being homophobic. There's a lot to unpack in today's video, so let's jump right in. I'm not sure how to start with this topic, to be honest, because a lot is going on at the moment, and many people are dragging the heck out of James Charles for having BBL surgery. Now, before I dive into James's situation, I do want to address the story behind BBL surgeries and why this surgery has been trending on social media for months. In case you guys didn't know, BBL surgery, aka the Brazilian butt lift surgery, is a popular cosmetic procedure that involves the transfer of fat to help create more fullness down there, if you know what I mean. And this surgery, you guys, has been going viral for months and months, with millions of people booking appointments and showing off their results on social media without really addressing the danger behind this surgery at all. Yeah. 1 out of 3,000 people who tried getting a BBL surgery have died, and many doctors out there have been warning people to avoid this trend, as it would cause major risks that could be fatal for some. But of course, when it comes to James Charles, he has openly talked about how he would love to have a BBL surgery on his channel and how this has been on his wish list for so long. However, after the BBL trend started going viral on social media, people started realizing that James could have done the BBL surgery secretly. And the reason for that is because a picture of James in bikini underwear went viral on the internet. At first, people jumped to conclusions immediately and assumed that James could have easily photoshopped this picture. But then some detectives, aka internet trolls, decided to go to James's recent YouTube video to check whether James has ever mentioned getting a BBL surgery before. And y'all, they found out that James has recently bought diapers after he accidentally showed his recently bought items from Amazon in his newest YouTube video. Now, you might be asking yourself, what does James buying diapers have to do with him getting a BBL surgery? Well, according to BBL surgeons, they often require their patients to wear adult diapers to collect fluid leaks from the surgical sites for the first few days after surgery. And based on what James has recently bought off of Amazon, he could have done the BBL surgery secretly. The reason why I'm mentioning all of this, you guys, is because so many people have been bullying James for getting a BBL. In fact, tons of people are now making fun of James now for trying to hide his BBL surgery from the internet as if they wouldn't find out sooner or later. Here's what some had to say. Not James Charles getting exposed for having a BBL because people could see he bought adult diapers on Amazon. James Charles def got a BBL. I've been doing some investigating. Hey, at James Charles, are you admitting to getting a BBL yet? Aside from James getting accused of getting a BBL surgery, people on TikTok are also making tons of videos on James right now after some TikTokers decided to accuse James this week of having facial surgeries and how it's toxic that he hasn't opened up about it to his fan base. I'm not sure if you guys agree that James should open up about his surgeries, but so many people are having mixed feelings about it, while others are defending him for not speaking up about his plastic surgeries, as many celebrities out there refuse to open up as well. With that being said, let's move on now to Ethan Klein, who received tons of backlash this week for being homophobic after he made fun of James Charles's plastic surgeries on his podcast. It's weird how James Charles's plastic surgeries are connected to Ethan Klein's topic in today's video, because apparently he decided to make fun of James in his podcast while straight up being homophobic towards him. I mean, so many people have sensed in the past that Ethan Klein is in fact homophobic, and the reason for that is because whenever Ethan mentions James on his podcast, the choice of words he uses towards him gives off the vibe that he's hella homophobic. And keep in mind, Ethan is the type of person who goes on his podcast to drag influencers, but the way he treats James in his videos makes tons of people uncomfortable, especially the LGBTQ+ community. On top of this, Ethan has a huge history of being homophobic in the past, and despite how he claimed multiple times that he isn't, people couldn't wrap their minds around him being supportive of the LGBTQ+ community. Now, in Ethan's recent podcast, he decided to address the drama that is going around about James Charles and how he's getting dragged dragged for buying diapers for his BBL surgery and hiding it from his fans. But then things took a turn when Ethan started making fun of James by calling him a power bottom while laughing with his friends about it during his podcast.
Now, we were saying, well, if he's getting blasted in that hard enough, potentially, you may need to wear a diaper.
Even though people were leaving hate comments towards Ethan while his podcast was streaming, he decided to ignore all the backlash and interview another member of the LGBTQ+ community called Matt just to ask him a few questions. And guys, not only did Ethan disrespect Matt during his podcast, but he even made him so uncomfortable to the point where Matt had to go off on Ethan. Check this out.
Or you don't do that, the labels.
I knew you were going to ask me that. I knew you were going to go there. And I mean this with all peace and love and with respect, Ethan. It's none of your business.
Oh, sure. I mean, that's a totally valid response. You don't have to answer the question.
You do a good job. You try to learn from this and do better. And then in 5-6 months, when you've shown some growth, then I'll tell you.
Yeah. The fact that Ethan had the audacity to be disrespectful and homophobic to a fan who was trying to help him was just awful. And so many people were uncomfortable watching Ethan's newest podcast for this reason. So they had this to say about him on Twitter. Ethan Klein is coming off as so disrespectful and homophobic right now. SMH, we love you and your effort, Matt. He's always been such a terrible person, but this I can't believe. My mouth dropped. The way treated an LGBTQ person on his podcast was so disgusting and honestly unforgivable. Flashes back to when Ethan Klein said those disgusting racist and homophobic comments about BTS and their fans. Yep, this checks out. Anyways, let's end today's video with Charli and Dixie D'Amelio getting dragged for being invited to the Nickelodeon's award show instead of JoJo Siwa. If you guys missed my recent video on JoJo Siwa, well, I highly recommend watching it because it will explain everything that you're about to hear right now. But basically, JoJo Siwa recently got roasted on social media for getting rid of her ponytail and surprising people with a new haircut. And shortly after getting that haircut, JoJo went on TikTok to reveal that she didn't get invited to Nickelodeon's award show despite being nominated and having a contract with them.
A lot of you have been asking me why I'm not at the Nickelodeon Kids' Choice Awards tonight, and the answer is very simple. I wasn't invited. I'm not sure why, but I just didn't get an invite.
This situation made tons of people furious as it seemed a bit homophobic for Nickelodeon to not invite JoJo to their show when the girl is literally running the company and keeping it successful to this day. And to make this even weirder, some fans even got the cops called on them by Nickelodeon after they made a couple of tweets threatening Nickelodeon that they will burn down the company for not inviting JoJo.
Nickelodeon just called the cops on me about 20 minutes ago. I wish I was kidding. I got a call from a New York number and obviously I didn't answer it because stranger danger, and because I know people are gonna ask, here are the text messages and I assume it's legit.
Anyways, despite Nickelodeon not inviting JoJo, they decided to invite both Charli and Dixie D'Amelio instead, after they also got nominated for multiple awards. And surprisingly, the D'Amelio sisters were able to win these awards and accept them on stage.
Last year and it only being my family in the room and now getting to have all of you guys here, I am just, it's such an honor.
Hey everyone, I'm shaking right now. This is, what the heck? Thank you so much for everyone who voted for me. Everyone, I love you so much. All my fans, all my supporters, everyone who watches me, you've been nothing but make me want to do this more, and an award for music is insane.
After these videos of the D'Amelios accepting their awards went viral, tons of people started complaining about how Nickelodeon invited the D'Amelios instead of JoJo Siwa, and how the sisters don't deserve to win any awards at all. So how they get invited but JoJo didn't, I'm confused. Living in a world of privilege must be nice. How they TikTok and got invited, but not my girl JoJo? Y'all seriously let Dixie win over JoJo Siwa and Johnny Orlando? This world has gone to absolute. Anyways, loves, make sure to click on the tab right above for more juicy videos on these influencers.